What's happening? I'm Jeffrey Corduroy, your American legend. I tell you, around the country, around the world. Like to get the business, like to get the beans, and I tell you, I've got an extensive Cardinals baseball collection of jerseys, and I have, authentic ones. So some friends said, you need to do kind of a video, let people know what to look for an authentic, real jersey, and kind of give a little bit of history. I'm missing some of the 40s ones and 30s ones. I have them somewhere in the vault. I'm just gonna give you a quick overview. A lot of people say, hey, how do I know if it's authentic or not? It's all about the chain stitching. That's right, the chain stitching. If it's not chain stitch, it's not authentic. You go around the ballpark, go to Busch Stadium, you have all these $15 DH gate jerseys, which are total trash. You wash them once and those threads shrink up. And the thing is, before the 70s, they had wool. That's right, the wool jerseys. Think how hot these things were? But we're gonna begin at a jersey, I think this was 1953, 54. Back in 2010, the Cardinals played the Devil Rays, and it was kind of a throwback day. And the Cardinals wore these, I think it's 1954 jerseys. Remember these, back then, these Cardinals looked kind of like turkeys. And the 40s, they had this cardinal design, kind of like this. Looks a little bit different today. We'll go about that more in a moment. This is actually a game issue. It's actually for Tyler Green. He wasn't up at the time. And this is actually, he's supposed to wear this jersey, but he didn't because, he was in the minor leagues. He came up about a month or two later after this. So let's move on, and look at those big turkeys on that thing. Let's move on. And of course, back in that day, these would have been wool, like a gray wool. But here's the 60s. They went away from the turkey bird to the more of this bird here, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller there. And of course, the Cardinals logo looks a little bit different, and this is authentic. And this is from Mitchell & Ness, when Mitchell & Ness made good jerseys. And today's jerseys from Mitchell & Ness, most of them are trash. The quality is garbage. And even though it might say Mitchell & Ness on it, you look on Marketplace, you see all these jerseys say Mitchell & Ness. Look for where it says Mitchell & Ness down below. If it looks like Mitchell & Nebb, it's not a Mitchell & Ness. And of course, the baby blue jersey is next. We'll talk about that in a moment. Yeah, these era jerseys, you see one like a Stan Musial, it looks like it came from the 40s. If it's not chain stitch, it's not real. And if it's kind of a silky material, it's $15 trash. Well, let's move on to the 70s. Along come the 70s and the pullover, the polyester. This was actually from a game the Cardinals did. This was the 40th anniversary game they did back in 2022 when the Yankees were in town. And Nike did make this, but Nike and I tell you, Nike, they have that stupid Nike logo on the upper right corner of the chest now, and it looks like trash. I don't know, I hate it. But they went with the jersey with the 5-inch numbers. In the 60s, they had 5-inch numbers on the jersey. They had more felt material. Of course, that chain stitch birds on the back. But for this game in 2022, Nike made a good jersey. But Fanatics, I think Fanatics now owns Mitchell & Ness. That's why it's trash. And I know I'm dogging Fanatics and Mitchell & Ness, but it's went down the tube. If you can find an old one on, on eBay, I'd snatch it up because the quality is garbage nowadays. But back in, I think it's like 75, 76, the Cardinals went to the baby blue, or some people call the victory blue. And this is actually from 82. This is from a game, the 30th anniversary game. And that, I'm not a math major. What was that, 2012? Somewhere around there? Yeah. But this is from a game they did during the week. I forget who they played, but they wore these jerseys for one night. The Cardinals did in 2012. And this is actually a Bruce Sutter one. I love Bruce Sutter. Majestic made this one back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Rawlings was one of the distributors of jerseys. Then I think in about 92, 93, they went from Rawlings to Russell. But even in the 80s, the Cardinals wore batting practice jerseys just like this. And this is authentic. And what's crappy about Mitchell & Ness, they used to be made in Philadelphia. Now they're made in China. And this from about 10 years ago. And the quality 10 years ago is a lot better than now. Now it's just paper thin and it's just garbage. And the sizing's not right. But let's move on to 1992. They got rid of the polyester pullover and went to the, yeah, that's right, the button up. Yeah, that's right, the button up. They went to that. And this is actually a Pedro Guerrero jersey from '92. Good old Pete. He's one of my favorite players at the time. But then in '98, during the Mark McGwire came to Cardinals from the Oakland A's. And was it July or August of '97, and he got in the 50s, the home runs. They thought he might have a chance to break the Maris record, but he didn't. But for one season only, they wore this cardinal birds on the bat with the red bill on it. That's the only season they wore it. And this was by Russell Athletic as well. But let me tell you, get rid of that one. Let's go to 1999. The Cardinals and all the teams for one day. They did the turn ahead the clock jersey. And this was actually a stadium giveaway from a few years ago at the ballpark, but they were just like this though. They had this popping, the silvers popping, and also the mechanical birds. And these were actually sublimated. The Cardinals version were sublimated too. If you can find them online, they're pretty pricey. And this is just a stadium giveaway, but the authentic ones were very similar, a little bit better quality, but they were still sublimated like this. Let's move on to about 2013-14. The Cardinals decided, you know what? We're going to make these birds outlandish and huge, very cartoonish, and I think it sucks. You know, I like the smaller birds. I don't know, it looks disproportionate. I'm not a fan, but this is the first time the Cardinals in like, I forget how many, 80, 90 years, they went back and put a St. Louis on a home jersey. And this is actually the Cardinals Saturday jersey. They wear on Saturdays, and it's a nice jersey. It is a nice jersey, I like it. Also, it was about around the same time, a few years after, they went with the baby blue for their road Saturday jersey. Exact same jersey, only difference is it's baby blue and not this cream color. I love the cream color. I wish they'd go back to the, like they had in the 60s and before, they had that red piping down the side. And I'd rather them get rid of the white and go to cream 24/7 at home games. I think it looks very nice. But yeah, but now today's jerseys, those Cardinals birds in the bats are monstrous. And then you have that stupid Nike logo on them. Yeah, it's trash. But that's kind of a brief overview. If it does not chain stitched, it's not real. Yeah. And just because it says Mitchell Ness on it doesn't mean it's the real deal. Before '70s, those things were wool and pretty hot. That's all I got for you, folks. Hope you have a wonderful day, and bye now.